So, today, the 31st of October, the so-called Black History Month ends. 1 month out of 12 dedicated to the history of Black people. A history written for Black people, about Black people, but by white people. A history written by white people that claim that their way is divine and righteous above Black people, leading them, the white people, to abrogate the freedoms and paradigms of Black people and to also abrogate the leadership of the planet and its destiny for themselves, to ultimately benefit themselves, the white people, at the expense of the Black people. A history that begins with Black people running around Africa, spear chucking, then to slavery, then to low IQ, and then to cultures of corruption. A history told by a forked tongue. So, my Black brothers and sisters, questions. What have you learned this Black History Month? And what about the remaining 11 months? Whose history is it? Why does a falsified history of Black people have to be paraded to them one supposedly iconic month of the year? If we are given just 1 month out of 12 to recognize our Black history, is it because the white people have kept themselves at the center of history and kept or accommodated us, the Black people, at the margins of history, only to be grateful for the one token month of a controlled parading of a falsified and diminished version of Black history being masqueraded as a recognition of Black history? How does the true Black narrative penetrate through all the all-encompassing, biasing influence of Eurocentric history and Eurocentrism, where this Eurocentrism imposes biases and lies on the African narrative with statements such as 1. The claim that your ancestors sold each other into slavery. 2. The claim that slavery has always existed throughout human history and in every society. 3. The claim that war has always existed throughout human history and in every society. 4. The claim that capitalism has made life better for everybody in the whole world. And that's just to mention a few. These are narratives I hear still being repeated over and over today, reinforcing albeit subtly old stereotypes and paradigms of Eurocentrism. These narratives keep being perpetuated to obscure who are the real victims of history and who are the real victimizers of all human history, so as to maintain the status quo by casting blanket blame on everybody involved so as to make it easier to manipulate the victims into sharing the blame of the victimizers, making it easier to isolate the victims when casting all blame on the victims, leaving the victims to bear not just the consequences but also the responsibilities for the victimizer's action, so that it is then easier for the victimizer to avoid accountability and responsibility. This false Black history and month of it is just the ultimate gaslighting of Black people by white people. So, again, another question is, how real is Black History Month really? From where I'm standing at, it always just looks like White History Year all the time, until someone remembers little old Black History Month. And even then, during Black History Month, it's still White History Year anyway. So again, question, how black is Black History Month? It never ceases to baffle me how Black people who have lived on this planet since 220,000 years ago could have made less history than white people who have only lived on the planet since only a mere 15,000 years ago. Black history has been marginalized by 220,000 years of Black history being squeezed into a mere 1 month by the white people who today impose their narrative and paradigm as the global norm. So basically, white people, who are a group approximately 205,000 years younger than the Black people, have supposedly made more history than the Blacks in just 15,000 years. All as if Black people were still believed to have just been running around Africa, chucking spears when hungry, and then just chilling out on a tree for the rest of the day, till the white people just showed up and made life better. And so, in this 21st century, instituted white supremacy is still alive and well, because the question has to be asked: who is still upholding institutionalized racism, and why?